Hi everyone. Welcome back to Etymology Explorer. Today, we'll explore the verb to be in English, Spanish, Latin, Persian, and other Indo-European languages, uncovering their historical connections and linguistic evolution. Let's dive right in. The verb to be is one of the most fundamental and fascinating elements of language. Its irregularity, complexity, and centrality to communication make it a unique subject of study, especially when we examine its forms and functions across different languages. The irregularity of to be in English. In English, the verb to be stands out as highly irregular. While most verbs follow predictable patterns, for example, I sleep, you sleep, he sleeps, to be has entirely different forms depending on the subject. I am, you are, he is, we are, they are. This irregularity stems from its ancient roots. The verb to be in English is derived from multiple roots in Proto-Indo-European, the ancestral language of many modern languages. These roots include s, seen in Latin esse and Sanskrit osti, bu, seen in Latin fui and Greek fuo, and wes, seen in Old English wesen. Over time, these roots merged in English, creating the suppletive forms we use today: am, is, are, was, were. Suppletion is the linguistic phenomenon where a single verb is formed from multiple unrelated roots, and its y to be doesn't follow a regular pattern like most other verbs. The high frequency and importance of to be have also contributed to its irregularity. As one of the most commonly used verbs, it has resisted regularization, preserving its ancient forms even as other verbs became more predictable. The Spanish ser and estar. Moving to Spanish, we see a different but equally interesting phenomenon. Spanish has two verbs for to be, ser and estar. While both translate to be in English, they are used in distinct contexts. Ser is used for permanent or inherent qualities, for example, soy español, I am Spanish. Estar is used for temporary states or locations, for example, estoy cansado, I am tired. This distinction between permanence and temporariness is a hallmark of Spanish and other Romance languages like Portuguese, which also use ser and estar. The roots of this split can be traced back to Latin, where esse, the ancestor of ser, was the general verb for to be, and star, the ancestor of estar, meant to stand or to stay. Over time, star evolved in Spanish to specifically indicate temporary states, creating the dual verb system we see today. Persian ost and hast. In Persian, the verb to be also has interesting nuances. Persian uses ost and hast to express existence or states of being. Ost is the simple form of to be, used for descriptions or states, for example, O Dr. Ost, he or she is a doctor. Hast is a more emphatic form, often used to emphasize existence or presence, for example, man has tam, I am here or existing. While Persian doesn't have a strict permanence or temporariness distinction like Spanish, the use of ost and hast reflects a similar focus on context and emphasis. This shows how different languages can develop unique ways to express the concept of being. Latin, the ancestor of Romance languages. Latin, the ancestor of Spanish, French, Italian, and other Romance languages, also provides insight into the evolution of to be. In Latin, the primary verb for to be is esse, which is used for most cases of existence, identity, or description. However, Latin also has stare, which means to stand or to stay, and can imply a temporary state or condition. While Latin doesn't have a systematic split like Spanish ser and estar, the distinction between esse and stare laid the groundwork for the development of the dual verb system in Romance languages. Over time, star evolved into verbs like Spanish estar, which specifically indicate temporary states. Broader Indo-European connections. The verb to be is irregular and complex not just in English and Spanish but across many Indo-European languages. For example, Portuguese uses ser and estar, much like Spanish. Italian uses essere and stare, with essere being the general verb for to be, and stare indicating temporary states. French primarily uses être for to be, but the distinction between permanent and temporary states can be made through context or additional words. Russian has a single verb for to be, but it is often omitted in the present tense, with distinctions made through context. These similarities and differences reflect the shared ancestry of Indo-European languages and the diverse ways they have evolved to express the concept of being. Conclusion: a linguistic legacy. The verb to be is a linguistic marvel, reflecting the deep history and interconnectedness of languages. From the multiple roots of Proto-Indo-European to the irregular forms in English, the dual verb systems in Spanish and Portuguese, and the nuanced uses in Persian and Latin, to be reveals how languages evolve while preserving traces of their past. Understanding the verb to be across languages is not just an exercise in grammar. It's a journey through the history of human communication. It reminds us that language is a living, evolving system, shaped by centuries of use, adaptation, and cultural exchange. Whether we say I am in English, soy in Spanish, some in Latin, or has-tam in Persian, we are participating in a rich linguistic tradition that connects us to our ancestors and to each other. That concludes the etymology of the verb to be, across different languages, presented to you by Arabella. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Please like, share, and if you have not already done so, consider subscribing to this channel.